Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch of Crime Talk, and today on the docket, the Doulos case is back in the news. A weird case of, I don't know why there's a dead woman in my driveway, and complete senselessness and cops gone bad. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch of Crime Talk. Thanks for tuning in. If you have not already done so, please hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell so you receive notifications of new content or when we go live, and please always leave a comment. First on the docket, Michelle Troconis, the girlfriend of Fotis Dulos, who is accused of killing his wife, Jennifer Doulos, who has been reported missing and no one has heard from her for months. Well, Mr. Troconis and Mr. Doulos have been charged with tampering with evidence, but the family of Jennifer Doulos has filed a wrongful death lawsuit in this particular case, and they're alleging $2.5 million. Well, Miss Troconis is a witness in that particular case, and she wants to assert her Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination and not have to answer any questions. Well, normally, you can do that in a civil case, but there's a negative inference. Usually an instruction is given to the jury that it's okay to assert your Fifth Amendment rights, but you may consider that when making a decision when deciding who is responsible under the civil action. Well, in this particular case, the judge has ordered Ms. Troconis to provide information on where she was born, where she holds citizenship, if she has an Argentinian passport, and where she lived with her daughter before moving to Connecticut. She also has to provide information regarding business dealings of Fotis Dulos while he visited her in Florida and Colorado, and which business associates he contacted in those states when she was present. Now, the parties in this particular case had to seek an order from the judge because Ms. Troconis was asked some 180 questions by the plaintiff's attorney, and she only answered 2. She had invoked her Fifth Amendment rights to the rest of the questions. She's now required to do some 16 more questions. Ms. Troconis will not be required, however, to answer anything that relates to Jennifer Doulos and the Farber family's finances, according to the court's order. All this stems from the fact that Jennifer Doulos has gone missing. The police believe that Fotis Dulos was lying in wait when Jennifer Doulos arrived home after dropping the kids off from school about 8:05 a.m. on May 24th. She has not been seen since. The kids, the 5 children between Fotis and Jennifer Doulos, remain with the grandparents. This case is going to be interesting, and as we talked about, just like in the Patrick Frazee case, it's often difficult to obtain a murder conviction without a body. In Colorado, they went forward, and Mr. Frazee was found guilty, in fact, quite easily, apparently, only after 3 hours of deliberations. The prosecutors in New Canaan, Connecticut, are a little more conservative in this particular case because they only get one shot at it, and they really cannot prove that she was gone or that she was, example in the Frazee case, burned in a particular location. So that's why Troconis and Doulos have only been charged with tampering with evidence. We'll see how it goes. Next on the docket is the case of, why is there a dead woman in my driveway? A Florida woman apparently called 911 and said that there is a woman bleeding to death on her driveway. When asked by the dispatch operator whether she knew the woman, she said, "I can't tell. She's bleeding too much." The woman on that 911 call was Yvonne Serrano. She's 51 and she lives in Coral Springs, Florida. And apparently she had gone out with a group of people from a gym that she was involved with to a movie night. They then went to a bar where Miss Serrano was seen talking to the victim, Daniela Tabers, but it doesn't appear that they're doing anything other than drinking and laughing. No one is exactly sure how Miss Tabers wound up on the driveway deceased. What is even more interesting is the fact that Miss Serrano apparently has no memory or good explanation as to why this person that she was with earlier in the evening was dead on her driveway. We'll follow this case as well. Next on the docket is a case of an absolute senseless act. Comes from Alabama. Authorities allege that William Chase Johnson, 18, killed Deputy Sheriff Big John Williams on Saturday. So it is alleged that William Chase Johnson shot Sheriff John Williams because Sheriff Williams approached Johnson's truck at a convenience store. Deputy Williams asked the young Mr. Johnson why the defendant's music was loud, and instead of turning the music down, it's alleged that William Chase Johnson shot the deputy sheriff. Now, this all took place in the neighboring Montgomery County. What makes this even more tragic is that William Johnson, who's been accused of shooting the deputy, is the son of a deputy sheriff as well. Tragic, senseless situation, should not have taken place, and young Mr. Johnson is going to have a tough road ahead of him. Absolutely senseless. Finally, today on the docket, we have a case of a cop gone bad. And this is not just, he made a mistake, like, maybe he had a DUI driving home from a Christmas party or something along those lines. No, this is a bad, bad dude. And the person that we're talking about is a former Pennsylvania police officer by the name of Mark Eicher. And he is accused of sexually assaulting victims and also violating their civil rights. So the U.S. attorneys for the Middle District of Pennsylvania said that Eicher violated his oath to protect and serve and instead became a predator. And I cannot necessarily disagree based upon these allegations. It's alleged by the U.S. attorneys that when a line is crossed and a protector becomes a predator, that the government must act swiftly and with certainty. And the U.S. attorney stated, in a case where one of us in law enforcement did something so very wrong to innocent victims that they stood up, we're proud to seek justice on their behalf. In one case, Mr. Eicher demanded oral sex from a woman he had pulled over on suspicion of a DUI. This was in exchange for not charging her. In another case, police officer Eicher took a woman in for booking on a driving under restraint charge and then stated that they smelled marijuana, where he took her back and fondled her and ultimately had oral sex when he asked, what can you do to help me help you? Okay. Now, I am certainly not going to in any way try to defend what this former disgraced police officer did. But as a general rule of thumb, public, as a general rule of thumb out there, ladies, public, if a police officer is asking you to engage in some sort of sexual conduct to resolve your matters, don't do it, because that's completely illegal on the part of the police. And you hear about these cases all the time. We had a case here in Denver where a police officer would arrest people, and before he would take them to the police department, he would go and sexually assault them. Okay? That's wrong. All right? And these ladies to think that it'd be okay to perform oral sex on a police officer, make their case go away, is wrong in and of itself. And you just don't have to do it. It's illegal. Don't do it, and demand immediately to speak with the police. A real police officer, apparently, one that actually took an oath to support and defend the public. That's all we have today on Crime Talk. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you doing that. We could not have had the success over the last year that we've had without you. Please subscribe if you haven't. Hit that like button. And if you'd like to receive notifications of when we put out new content or go live, hit that little bell notification. We would certainly appreciate it. Have a great day, and thanks for watching Crime Talk.